compelling detective story, a cloak and dagger action, and a romantic drama, all these stories were taken from real life. The history of Kazakhstan is inseparable from the world history. Reflections on History, our version.
From now onwards. He was looking at the white walls and palaces of a densely populated city. He was listening to its noise formed by many different voices. A person speaking Italian was arguing with a Kipchak about the price of silk. He was enjoying a fresh breeze blowing from the Urals and carrying the fragrance of exotic spices. I, Zhanibek, issued this order supported by the power of eternal God and protected by the great genius. By this order, Venetian merchants coming here to trade must pay a 3% trade tax. If they are not conducting trade, they needn't pay anything. No person holding power should cause them hindrance on their route as they come and go. They should not be interfered with in any way from now onwards. However, it wasn't truly from now onwards, but it was for the duration of the golden period of the Golden Horde. The Kipchaks formed the majority of the Golden Horde's population. A great number of cities appeared in a period of 50 years. In the 14th century, half of Europe was destroyed by plague. People say that it broke out because Zhanibek had brought infected corpses to Kaffa. Chapter 1. Terra Commercial. The old centre of Genoa was here. Only a few steps separate the jungle of cranes from the mysterious Middle Ages. There is a maze of narrow streets. Above it, you can see the skyline. Citizens never got lost here, and it also provides defence against unexpected visitors such as pirates. Here, if you want, you can shake the hands of your neighbour from the house across the street. Although it seems that nobody's doing it now because all of the windows are shut. The narrow streets of Genoa are called Karugin. Actually, this street is quite wide in comparison with some others. As well as classical piracy, corsair activity and privateering flourished from the late 13th century until the mid-14th century. The Genoese and Venetians were engaged in legal robbery on the Black Sea. Nevertheless, they were more interested in fair trade in the region. It was a cherished commercial land. Perhaps the Venetians were the first to settle in the areas of the steppe dwellers situated near the Black Sea. However, according to other sources, Genoese merchant ships had sailed here in the middle of the 12th century. In any case, fierce fighting took place in proximity to the Silk Road. It was accompanied by intrigues, crusades, and full-scale military actions. This situation stabilized a little after a new superpower appeared in the world arena. Magnificent palaces with palm trees and swimming pools where fish swam appeared in Genoa thanks to the trading skills of its citizens. The city started flourishing in approximately the 10th century. A proverb from this time said that Genoese meant merchant, and this was a cause of pride. It was said that the steppe dwellers were the most trustworthy partners of the Genoese. In the 13th century, active trade cooperation between Genoa and the Golden Horde started. During that period, the situation in this huge area depended on three leading players. They were Genoa, Venice, which were maritime powers, and the Golden Horde. It was known as the Ulus of Jochi, Desht-i-Kipchak, Burke Country, Northern Kingdom, and the Ulus of Uzbek. Incidentally, Arabian traveller Ibn Battuta was the first to write about the Golden Horde in his notes. He used this word in reference to the Grand Tent, which was the residence of Uzbek Khan. The Golden Horde reached its peak under Uzbek Khan and his son Zhanibek Khan. The Silk Road was under strict control. It was not necessary to carry fodder for horses and food for merchants. They no longer needed the help of guides. They could get everything they needed along the way. The infrastructure of caravanserai included cities with markets where the merchants could get everything they needed during the journey. This was developed. The way from Tana to China is quite safe during both daytime and nighttime. Only if the merchant dies, all his property will be given to the ruler of the country where he died. However, if his brother or close friend is with him, if he can prove that he's really his brother, the property will be given to him. Chapter 2. Golden Century. This is the Mahambet district in the region of Atyrau. The signs of history gradually disappear off the face of the earth. History reveals the past greatness marked by the arrival of thousands of caravans, the best architects, theologians and astronomers in the cities of the Golden Horde. There were 130 cities with fountains, irrigation ditches, heating, caravanserai, dervish lodges and bathhouses. These cities included Saraychik, the Horde capitals, Sarai Batu and New Sarai, Zayik, Sauran, Otra and others. Major deals were negotiated, coups were planned, conspiracy was organized and foreign customs were discussed in the steam rooms and near swimming pools. The beauties of the Golden Horde were indignant at the fact that merchants were allowed to have temporary wives and katha. In the Golden Horde, women also went to bathhouses as there were two parts. One was for men and the other was for women. Women and men could also go to the bathhouse on different days. Everything was arranged in a very comfortable way. The ruler's palace and the infrastructure were in the center. It was surrounded with bathhouses and other cultural institutions, and then there were craftsmen's quarters and residential areas. This is a typical building of a typical family. Most likely it belonged to a minor official. This is a hall. Here was a small yard. There were about 6 or 8 people in a family. Perhaps this was a larder. However, it might also have been a bedroom. Another bedroom was here. The kitchen was here. 2 tandoors have remained where flat cakes were baked. According to some archaeological data, the standard of living in the Golden Horde was high. The wealth of Genoa and Venice was growing exponentially, and the competition between the two republics became intense. There were some written sources such as letters and declarations of the Khans confirming this. There was Khan Zhanibek's order, according to which trading preference was given to the Venetians, while the Genoese were prohibited from trading with the Horde. No originals of this order remain. They were kept locally and their translations were sent to the center. Incidentally, consuls in Genoese and Venetian colonies did double-entry bookkeeping, and the exact copies of the trading books were sent back home where financial inspections were conducted. In general, using these documents, you can find out about the ethnic origin of those who participated in trade. Here you can already find Kazakh terms and some Kazakh ephonyms, which were already known. So-called mercenary cavalry troops consisted mainly of the Turkic people and Armenians. In the trading books they were called Mazaris. There is even some information about the most mysterious fact in the history of cooperation between these 3 countries. Due to the unjust devil, the enemy of the human race, unprecedented endless disagreements, misunderstandings and temptations arose between Zhanibek Khan, the chief of the infidel Tatars, with the dignitaries and vassals subordinated to him on one hand, and the Venetian and Genoese merchants on the other hand. Chapter 3. Weapons of Mass Destruction. The Venetians called their city Serenissima, meaning light. There are 160 channels, 188 small islands and 400 bridges here. People who moor river buses work as conductors. The most important thing is to moor them carefully and prevent the passengers from falling overboard. Because of Zhanibek Khan, the economy of Venice and Genoa was in recession for 5 years. Historical facts describing why this happened are complicated. A serious conflict arose between the Golden Horde and the Genoa a short time before chaos broke out. A serious conflict arose between the Golden Horde and Genoa a short time before chaos broke out. It happened in 1343 in Tana, which is called Azov now. Everything started because the Venetians disliked paying taxes on time, which led to a conflict between an aristocratic negotiator and a representative of the Horde, resulting in the latter's death. A rebellion broke out in the colony and all the Italians had to escape. Zhanibek prohibited European merchants from entering the Golden Horde for 5 years and sent troops to Kaffa, which was the largest colony of the centre. The siege lasted for a long time. According to various sources, it continued for either 2 or 3 years. He used chemical weapons during the siege of Kaffa. People say that it was almost the first case in history of this type of weapon. Gabriel de Mussy, Genoa lawyer, or notary to be exact, mentioned the event of 1346 when plague broke out in Kaffa. It was connected to a large extent with the actions of Zhanibek, who used the corpses infected with the plague while conquering Kaffa. Our ships entered a port, but 1,000 sailors, hardly 10 are spared. We reach our homes. Our kindred and our neighbours come from all parts to visit us. Woe to those of us, for we cast at them the darts of death. Whilst we spoke to them, whilst they embraced us and kissed us, we scattered the poison from our lips. Going back to their homes, they in turn soon infected their whole families. It's thought that colonists infected with the plague returned home by ships, and this brought the illness to Europe. However, it isn't known for sure whether this information is true or not. A caravan going from Sarachik to China is depicted on a Catalan map. Some people believe that Zhanibek used the Silk Road to spread the plague. However, people of the Golden Horde themselves suffered from the Black Death, which was brought by caravans from the Gobi Desert. The bubonic plague killed 60 million residents of the continent over 20 years. It was impossible to avoid being infected as the connection between Europe, represented by Italian merchants, and the East, where the Golden Horde's protégés controlled the Silk Road, was too close. Incidentally, a truce ended the conflict between these two parts of the world. The Genoese could not force Zhanibek Khan because they dominated the sea, while Zhanibek Khan could not force them either as he controlled the land. The war united eternal rivals, the union of the Venetians and the Genoese. They sent ambassadors to Zhanibek, and each republic made attempts to reach agreement. The ruler of the Golden Horde also proposed to settle the conflict. Good relationships were resumed in 1347, and the Khan permitted the Italians to trade in the Golden Horde once more. Epilogue: Decline of the Empire. The golden period of the Golden Horde enriched the world with new technology, knowledge, and brought great upheavals and changed the world. Art and secrets of European diplomacy are based on technologies developed by the Venetians to a large extent. They include bacteriological weapons, diplomatic intrigues, and trade sanctions. Zhanibek used such methods as embargoes in his foreign economic activity. In addition, there was development of banking and customs spheres and transport infrastructure. There was a single customs tariff and single currency called tenge. Paradoxically, the currency was called tenge in all the Mongolian countries. It was called tenge in Chinese Yuan Empire and in Tibet. The Russian word dengi, or denga, meaning money, also derived from this word. These facts reflect the form of dominance during that period. Sun rays refract on the white walls of the burial vault of the Golden Horde and Kazakh Khans. One of the rulers of the great empire is at peace in this white pantheon. 2 years after his death, the empire was plunged into turmoil known as the Great Discord in Russian chronicles. It continued until another great ruler came to power. May my people prosper forevermore.